Today, I want to talk about the integration that is happening for me right now and about things that I'm learning. And right now, I am reading the book Whole Brain Living by Jill Bolte Taylor. And she is the woman who had a stroke in the left hemisphere of her brain and then took 8 years to recover. And this book is from 2021. And I'm finding it very helpful for thinking about some of my experiences with bipolar. And for example, when I take a look at what she calls the 4 characters by dividing up different major areas of the brain and what they do, and those are the left thinking tissue, the left feeling, right thinking, right feeling. And each of those areas, which for the thinking is the cerebral cortex and for the feeling is the amygdala, mainly. So she's dividing it up neuroanatomically because she's a neuroanatomist. And though she's a neuroanatomist who had this experience of a stroke and then is outlining these 4 characters in an effort to have people recognize these characters and accept them within themselves, I'm seeing it by extrapolating it to my own experience on many levels. And maybe this will be helpful for other people too, to think about bipolar experiences this way, just like people could start if they're neurotypical and haven't had any diagnosis of any kind yet. Though they say that most people can find themselves in the DSM, regardless, we all have these 4 characters. We all have these different sets of neurons that organize our perceptions, however you want to say it. I'm not exactly sure the exact way to say it. But the point for me is that it really helps to see myself as these 4 characters and having these 4 distinct aspects of myself. And I think I mentioned before, I was never really into thinking of myself like this part of me or that part of me or my childlike part or whatever, though those have some truth to it as well. For some reason, probably because I have a background in biology, just seeing these characters as like these chunks of neural tissue helps me to see the validity of it. It's not like conceptual, even though each character has the conceptual aspects of itself and what it can tend to express. Those concepts are tied to neuroanatomy and science and what they've studied. Because you can take something like, say, the metaphor of the hero's journey, or you can take all different sorts of metaphysical or spiritual metaphors, and they can be helpful too. But like I said, I'm just finding this one quite helpful because I don't like to really simplify things. Like, I tend to gravitate towards complexity. And one thing that I noticed today, for some reason, it came to my mind about the concept of truth, which isn't really a concept, but the good, the true, and the beautiful. And I had an insight that I have a very strong relationship with truth, or what I would call insight, or the truth that I see in the moment. And I think that's part of why I've identified that I can have this role of being a channeler at sometimes, though that's not as strong right now. At times it's very strong, and I'm channeling insights like most of the day, and it's very it's very like a lot of content is what I'm trying to say. So I have this relationship with truth, and then for some reason it came to mind about the other 2 aspects that are mentioned together, like the good, the true, and the beautiful, which I haven't really studied much of that grouping of concepts. But I was wondering about creating more of a relationship with goodness. And The other thing I have found myself grappling with lately is that since I'm not really able to function in some domains, like in the four character terminology, my character one, like the linear, logical planning, putting things in my calendar and doing it, isn't really working. So I'm not really doing projects so much right now in these last few weeks. Yet I also feel that there's this part of me that wants to be doing it. And I could almost say, I'm going to be using this four character terminology for today at least. My character one is almost grieving that it's not able to be used right now, and rather than me being able to be like, okay, like just be quiet and stop kind of putting this negative energy in my system about that I'm not able to do that right now. If that was just quiet, then I would perhaps be able to enjoy more what I am able to do. And it seems that I'm still able to take care of myself and, make some healthy food. And like today I was cleaning out my drains because it was time to clean the drains. They were like backing up a little bit when the water was running on full, like things like that, right? So I can't say that I'm just in a low state where I'm non-functional, because that's not true. And the other day I made a soup. I've never made a big batch of soup before, really, that I can recall. So all of a sudden that's like doing a new thing, right? And it's doing something new in the realm of the material world and the body and health. And that's good. That's something good. So coming into contact with this word good, which is related to truth, and having that almost as an anchor today is perhaps allowing that part of my mind which wants to explore more and more truth, and then maybe even start putting those truths together into some kind of project. It might, I don't know yet, it might sort of calm down a little bit. Because part of what this book talks about is that we can accept, or I can't remember what the acronym BRAIN stands for, respect, I think. Sort of like allowing whatever character is in the forefront to be. And that could be whether it's in the forefront and that's helpful, or whether it's not helpful. First, allowing it to say what it's trying to say. And then she talks about being able to consciously choose which of the four characters we wish to be in, like which might be better suited to the situation. And I think that's very super valuable. And being able to divide it according to the structure and function is also helpful, because then one can kind of have a sense of, well, this is what all these aspects can do together and bring to the table, and this is what all these aspects from this other part of the brain can bring together. And they kind of come together, like we can't really mix this and that one so much. We might be able to some degree, but perhaps bringing one into consciousness and having the conscious control, those other parts will take the place that they take without being dominant. So for example, like character 2, which is about remembering the past and past hurts in order to protect us from having future